This is Just Win Bets, baby, on the Sports Bet Winning Network.
If you're looking to absolutely crush the soccer boards, you're in the right place. Today, we are joined by a man who knows the game of soccer inside and out, and more importantly, knows exactly how to make it profitable for you. He's a former professional soccer player who successfully translated the elite pitch IQ into sharp betting analysis. You know him as a core member of the Driving the Line crew on Believe Network, where he simplifies complex boards, breaks down the Asian handicaps, and delivers the high-value winners week in and week out. Please welcome to the show the one and only Bradley Jacobs. Bradley, great to have you here, my man.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. You can also find me on X at Brad Betts Footy. So if you don't see that first and last name, that's the same person. I'm at Brad Betts Footy. Just make sure my branding is consistent. But yeah, Bradley Jacobs is my first and last name. Former semi-professional soccer player for Nashville FC when they were first coming into as a new club, even prior to being in the MLS. So I was as that founding core member. It's a highlight of my life, and definitely something that I cherish as far as off the or on the pitch. But off the pitch, now full-time exclusive betting, looking for value every day of the week in every league around the world all year.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. And again, as Bradley mentioned to you earlier, you can follow him on X at at Brad Betts Footy. That's BradBettsFooty. You can see it right there on below on your screen there. Let me start off with this one, my friend. As a former professional soccer player, you look at the pitch differently than someone who just studies spreadsheets. What is one thing, whether it's a tactical shift, player body language, or a manager's hidden motivation, that you see as an ex-pro that the average data-driven bettor completely misses?
Well, honestly, loaded question. Absolutely everything you just said, all of it, is what I'm analyzing. I'm looking at how they play out of the back. What is the transition like? What's that pace of play? Is the switch coming quickly? Is it going diagonal, up the field, across the field? Is that first ball back? Do they drive the line? Because when you take the ball to the line, you're inviting that pressure. So there are certain things that the players do and the way the manager sets up, but there's a number of factors within each different team that take into account with that specific bet. So you have like a Barcelona or a Bayern Munich, you know that they might start out slow, but those goals are coming over and over and over again. They are a team who picks up the pace. So within each league, each individual team, different coach, different players, that changes all season long, all year, whenever those transfer windows are open. So it's a constantly type of situation where you got to be on top of it and know exactly what is going on. And as far as my situation is, I don't have to study the soccer side. I can see it and understand it quickly. So then I can really apply myself off the pitch and look and study those numbers to give a real, two-way approach to where I can justify what my eyes are seeing with what the data is also seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, you're talking about that. Like, I know you've done a lot of work breaking down the Asian handicap on Driving the Line. Why do you think so many casuals in North America bettors are intimidated by it? And why should it be a staple in any serious soccer bettor's bankroll?
Wow, Gretz, it's such a fantastic question. And I'm not really sure why it's underutilized throughout all of the soccer betting markets, the footy betting markets throughout the world. It's the Asian total because it's derived from the Asian market. Pretty specific, but pretty simple as well. And that's why we call it that. But within the actual why we use it, when we use it, there are very specific situations you want to really look to. If you think there's going to be a goal, but you're not sure who's going to score, you can drop in on that over 2. If that pressure is really coming and you don't want to jump in on individual team totals, drop in on that over 2. So when that goal hits, you can then have that push secured. You can get in on a line quicker. Not all the sports books have it. And I think that may be one of those caveats. Your DraftKings, your Bet Rivers, your Bet365, your Bovadas will all have your Asian lines. But then you also have your FanDuels who will show an Asian line, but it's not the same. It's a spread line. So you need to be very careful when what you're using is an Asian line and not just an over under line with that 0.0. But with the Asian market, I would recommend looking into it, because what you're doing specifically with that over 2.5 market, a lot of times within this sport, you're not getting favorable lines. You don't have that many things to choose from with very, very small, limited margins. 2 goals versus 3 goals, 3 goals versus 4 goals. In football, that is a massive change and a massive differentiation within that score line and within that price. So what I would do as far as a better, and I'm just trying to get into it, I would look at that 2.75. So when you see and want 3 goals, but that line is somewhere minus 40-ish and above, you can take the 2.75. What that allows you to do is you can get the 3 goals, cash your ticket, but then if 4 goals comes, you can get a full ticket. So you're just leveraging your bet for a higher payout in that scenario versus the 3 where it can give you a push. But what I recommend is do your best to try to stay away from the both teams to score as much as you can. And why I say that is because in its underlying, the underlying part of the both teams to score is it's a parlay. Most people don't really fully understand that. It's a parlay between the over 0.5 team total per side. And when you have a parlay, you're increasing your odds to lose because you can get 2 goals to push it. And when you have 2 goals, it's still an either uneven game, causing one team to be forced to push, and it's a game scenario type of situation. So those Asian totals, be specific on what you're looking for. And, I guess there's really a lot of nuance to it. I don't want to go too into the weeds because you'd have to go, really, really far in depth. But as a high level, just maybe look for that 2.75, leverage your bet for a higher payout for more goals.
I love the explanation. I mean, Joe the fan over there, he's our soccer guy, and he tells me what to bet, and I just follow him blindly.
I'm crying. I'm crying inside because now I'm talking to someone who understands the language. Oh my Lord.
So I'm like, yeah, whatever this Asian thing is, I'll put it on there. And then but that's a great explanation. Helps clear it up a little bit for everybody, I think. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're with our good friend Bradley Jacobs, and again, you can follow him at Brad Bets Footy on X and check out his packages of soccer plays, etc. Just go on to his website. We actually have a QR code on the screen there, so you can just click that and it goes right to his deals or his memberships, I should say, right there, Bradley. And then you can get, it gives you a little bit more clarity. Yes,
it sure does. Yeah, if you just take that link at Brad Bets Footy, it's on my X bio as well. So if you just go search on X, underneath that you can click it, or at Brad Bets Footy directly at Dub Club.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this, my friend. Of course, I know you're happy with Arsenal winning, and to me, as you, soccer to me, or football, I should say, is of course a business when it comes to sports betting. So I am a little disappointed in VAR at times. So soccer variants can be brutal because a single lucky bounce, own goal or a bad VAR call in a 1-0 game changes everything. Not to mention having to account for the draw on a standard 3-way money line. How do you protect your bankroll against the specific variant? And when you do decide to caveat on a tie no bet or draw no bet, I should say, or double chance instead?
It's a very, very good question. And I will be quite honest and say that I don't feel that I'm the expert per se on money lines, draw no bets, the double chances of the world, because as you mentioned, those variants or the variables that happen within the match can change things so drastically. One handball that the referee deems that day as legitimate enough for a penalty kick will then give your team a goal. So if you're just on the wrong side of a call that day, it can be very, very frustrating. which is why I like to bet those neutral goal totals. With one of those decisions can then help me onto my overall total, because when you're looking for an overall total, it's better to have two sides. And I know that's a pretty easy statement, but it's better to have two sides competing in the opportunity to score, with the better opportunity to get to that higher total, just like in football, basketball, more shots, more opportunities, more potentials for goals.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I kind of like, on a side note, I personally, and this is what I was trying to tell my partner Shane O'Mac here, is that, you can, just like in American football and stuff like that, hey, first basket or first person to score a touchdown, what have you. In soccer, you do have that market of first scorer, but I kind of lean towards, especially with Bet Rivers, who does a hell of a job, is not only score and or assist. So I like that market very much, or shot on goal, very similar to what they do in hockey there, Shano. But that is a market I really like. I do tend to, once in a blue moon, I try to go for how many corners over and under, but I've been kind of drifting away from that market lately.
Corners tough. Absolutely. Corners can be tough. It's part of the game. Sometimes those little bounces can be there. There are certain play styles that can invite corners, but overall, corners are just sometimes a lucky bounce. Just sometimes if a goal happens for a certain team, if a VAR call goes in, all of a sudden that team shells out and starts throwing the ball. So they're very cyclical within the game. I also stay very far away from corners for the most part. And as an Arsenal fan, that might seem surprising at this stage of my fandom, but they're very difficult to predict.
Yeah.
Totally. So we got a big tournament coming up this summer, obviously, and you guys are going to be packed slam trying to figure out bets for the World Cup, right? But when you have a big tournament like that, and like the World Cup, the public money tends to flood the market, right? Awfully heavily inflating the lines for favorites. What's your go-to strategy to finding value when the public is blindly backing a big name squad?
Finding value is a tough thing when you have such a wide variety of people focusing in on very specific matches. In the World Cup, you're going to have people betting on every single match, and it's going to invite a lot more money, which means you're going to have sharper lines. Each line is going to be very, very, very sharp. So what I would recommend, in a way to maybe beat the line, is if you like a bet, maybe it's a 3.0 or a 2.5, maybe look to drop in early live instead. Buy yourself a half a goal. An over 2 versus a 2.5 is a night and day difference with trying to cash, getting that second goal. There's a huge correlation between the third and fourth goal and the first and second goal. When the first goal comes in, game's now uneven, which forces one team to then shell out to try to either tie it, and that also leaves the back door open, giving that second goal a great opportunity. But when that second goal comes, that's going to change the game. Is it the both teams to score, or is it one side getting 2 goals? That goal is then going to decide what happens for the next goal. So within every single goal in the match, it's going to change the outcome. So what I would recommend is maybe look live on a bought-in number to kind of beat those odds just a little bit to save yourself potentially, or a halftime line. Because in football, in soccer, a lot of times there are teams who will come out to just mitigate risk, minimize the risk to get into halftime. What I know is a pre-match talk with your coach. That coach says to the defensive unit, nothing. Let's get to halftime with a clean sheet. That's the number one focus. So oftentimes people get frustrated with no first half goals. And I get that. But the second half is where things can really open up. One goal opens everything up. So just look more toward the second half and look more toward when one team scores, it'll invite that other team to push. So 0-0, maybe wait around for that first goal. When that first goal comes, look for that second goal, because those are very, very correlated numbers.
Absolutely. And Shano, what he means by clean sheet is, of course, they haven't allowed a goal. Okay, so if the team, for example, Arsenal, who has done a hell of a job at home, let's really be honest, if they win a 1-0 or up 1-0 at a half or 2-0, they're keeping that clean sheet thus far, in the halftime and blah blah blah. So when you're
I
betting,
figured it
also
out.
okay, and also Shannon, you got to keep in mind that there is stoppage time, so it's not just 45 minutes. There's a little bit of
that's
extra.
always weird to me as soccer. Just
Sure.
stop the clock like every other sport.
No, no. Okay, this guy's guy. Who is this guy? Do you see what I got to put up with there?
It just seems so random to me. They're just like, 6 minutes just added on. Like they just pull a number out of their hat. And just put it on there.
It has gotten. I didn't mean to cut our guest off there. It has gotten a little out of crazy, I guess, so to speak. Especially lately, especially in the European leagues. I cover La Liga, Serie A. English Premier League, the lower leagues in England, and stuff like that, but also domestic with MLS and Liga MX. So, I mean, I know we'll have an opportunity to get your best bets for the upcoming match day 15, or is it 4? I believe it's 15 for MLS. So, well, hopefully we can get that. But again, let me ask you this last question, and we're joined, of course, with Bradley Jacobs, and you can follow him on X, and that's at Brad Bets Footy. Please check out, there's a QR code right there in the bottom right corner. And then it goes right to, all of his, not only plays, but the memberships offerings that he offers there. Let me ask you this, my friend, or my last question before we get to the good part of the betting, right? The Driving Line crew really emphasizes the idea of a sports betting community where all of us are all in it together. In a hobby that can often feel isolating or toxic when people are on a losing streak. How do you and the DTL team hopefully a positive culture where bettors can actually learn and bounce back together?
Another fantastic question. And within the betting space, it is a very toxic space. It is full of addicts. It is full of those who are gamblers, and typically we find that success can often lead to us wanting to expel more. But one way that I personally choose within this sport, and I have found to find some success within those variables, is to limit my bets during the week and bet more, increase my bets, my volume on the weekend, because I've found that the weekend league football is a heck of a lot more consistent. You'll get numbers that make sense. These teams will play hard. You don't have as much rotation. So that's where I would really find some consistency within the numbers. But as far as with Driving the Line and trying to cultivate that positivity, really it's understanding that you are not in control of your bets. And that's really important to know, because no matter what happens in that game, you can have 4 or 5 penalty kicks. And if they miss all 5 of those penalty kicks, you could potentially lose your bet. And each penalty kick has a success rate of upwards of 75%. So flip that coin. And if you flip it twice and you miss both, then you are really unlucky. And on another day, you would have caught that bet. So you need to go into the understanding that not every bet is life and death. But what's the most important thing isn't always that it cashed, but rather did the statistics at the end make sense? Did the gameplay indicate that the bet that you made was the right one? If that comes in, irregardless to the cash that's in your bank or in your sports book, then you can understand that that was a successful endeavor. That was a good decision. And in the end of time, the more you do that, statistics will come around in your favor. You will start making those penalty kicks. So the toxicity understanding is each day is another chance to wake up and be better, to find success. That yesterday is not going to be who you are today. You are allowed to change your scenario and learn from those mistakes. Every loss is an opportunity to grow. So use your bad decisions, use the times that really hurt you to then motivate you to be smarter with those decisions, and really just try to eliminate some of those risks that you just undertook. So try to find each individual thing, learn one thing from your bet, but also look at the end, make sure it checked out at just with those statistics and gameplay specifically, shots on goal, expected goal differential, all of that type of scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's jump into, of course, MLS. And this is the last week before they go in. And there's a lot of clubs that are finishing up their Shano English Premier League. You've got the La Liga, the Serie A, Bundesliga, I believe, has just finished. So don't quote me on that one. I cover so many leagues, and as well as my colleague here. But MLS, of course, is going to take a break so they can go and practice to their respected national team. So let's start with, of course, a play or a lean that you have, and I've got a couple leans myself. And I'll give out my official picks tomorrow. But what do you have, my friend? What could you say?
Yeah, going into the MLS this weekend for a nice free play for everybody here, for joining, for coming, listening, learning, being involved, and hopefully taking something from this. But we're going to the MLS on Saturday afternoon, St. Louis at home, 1:45 p.m. Central Time, taking on Austin. And what we know about these two specific teams, St. Louis, they are a goal total team when they're at home, and Austin is a goal total team when they're away from home. St. Louis has now hit over 2.5 goals in 16 of their last 19 at home, 84%. 10 of 12 of those over 2.5s also shot that 3.5, which is very important for our bet that we're going to be choosing to give you. And then Austin, they're an away team. They are really a goal total team. Over 2.5 now in 19 of 24. So smashing goals, but away from home. 17 of 18 have hit that over 2.5 because they're a conceding team. They've conceded now 2+ goals in 17 of their last 22 coming in, and 11 straight. They've had 2+ away from home. So when they're away from home, they concede. That too, what we need is one more goal from Austin, who's now scored in 29 of 32 matches. That is 91%, and 6 of 7 versus St. Louis. So this is the type of matchup that we think both teams should score, which should then force the over 2.5, hitting our over 2.75 Asian total. I got that at -130.
That's great. That is great. I'm going to give out a free play as well. And we'll go with your backyard, the Nashville SC, as they take on a club which I think is struggling throughout the whole season, of course. Well, somewhat when it comes to away, in New York City FC. I won't get really that detailed about it because I want to honor your time there, Bradley. But, they're right now, if you want to take them in the money line and play it safe at -130. But this is where I think Bradley and I see eye to eye when it plays with the Asian handicap there, Shano, is I'm going to go with -1 on the Asian handicap, because if it does end up to be a 1-0, okay, or a 2-1 Nashville win, so all they have to do is Nashville to win. Okay, if it ends up a 2-1 or 3-2 or what have you, okay, you get your money back, you get the pushback, and that's at +145. Okay, you could play the 0.75 Asian handicap at +100, but it doesn't make any sense to me logically. If you're going to do that, might as well just play the -1. I think they win here, and they win 3-1. Nashville wins, of course, at home. And remember, Shano, is when you're looking at the team, for those who don't know sports betting in soccer, the team on top is the home team. It's not like the traditional hockey or NBA or, hey, it's at this or at that, like the NFL or college football or what have you. So it's the top team when you're looking at your betting slip, and you'll see Nashville SC, and then below that, it will say New York City Football Club, or NYCFC. The NYCFC on the bottom team is always the away team. So they do a little bit different in soccer. So my free bet will be Nashville SC -1 on the Asian handicap at +145 with our good friends over at DraftKings. So, Bradley, before we let you go, my friend, I'll give you an opportunity to plug whatever you would like to. I know we covered a lot of stuff, my friend. Yeah, just tell us exactly where they can get all the stuff. I know we've got the QR code for our audience so they can check out your stuff. But was there anything else that you wanted to say to our audience?
Nothing specific. Just come follow me on Dub Club. Come support. Come enjoy the game. That is really the most important thing, is when you're gambling, when you're wagering, make sure you're enjoying it. If you're betting on something that you don't even really like, and at the end of the day, you wouldn't even want to watch, maybe just sit it out and look for something that you do love. Put on some soccer, something that will excite you, a nice open match, something like maybe this weekend against Bayern taking on Stuttgart in the German final. Go take a look there. There should be plenty of goals.
Oh, there's no question.
What time? What time is that? I might check it out. Do you know?
I believe it's at 8:00 our time, Eastern Standard Time for us. So I think it's 8:00 there. The Bundesliga, they have what's called like a playoff kind of thing, Shano. So the reason why they do it, and this is what I love about soccer, is the relegation. So I do love that about soccer. They force team to be accountable. If you're trash, again, I'm not insinuating anything. I'm not going to say any team, Burnley. Sorry. If you're not that great, Burnley or what have you, then you get moved back. So now Burnley, for example, I'm using that as an example, they get moved to the EFL Championship. And, those who have qualified will therefore go from there and they get promoted up. So, and just like it was in League Two and League One, there's a England National League, but there's a lot of leagues that I don't personally cover there, Shana, when it comes to the Asian or anything like that. But Bradley, you cover something a little bit more, the Scandinavian or Scotland leagues?
I cover, honestly, all throughout the world. There is not a league that I really don't touch. What I try to do is find leagues that are scoring at a consistent rate and then pound those leagues, pound the teams in the leagues that are scoring with the teams that are scoring in a consistent factor. I like to look at those teams live, often just buying underneath that number. 3.5 is such a correlated number with 3, but it doesn't always go. So you want that push condition on that over 3. Very, very specific. Really just lost my train of thought there, but
No. I completely understand and I get it, man. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that is open there, Shano, or for the average soccer bettor when it comes to, hey, if you don't think these guys are going to score, might as well do an under 2.25, or even better yet, if you feel, Shano, it's going to be, you got that 0-0 detector going off, it pays big. Trust me. Go under 2 goals on the Asian Handicap. Usually by default, it's either 2.5 or 3.5, depending on the teams that they're playing. But that is the way I like to look at it personally when it comes to goals. Do you concur there, Bradley?
I do. I think every league around the world is different and it's going to score in a different facet. So understanding how that league scores, whether it's a first half league or a second half league, does it do it late, quickly? Every league really is different. You have your Brazils where they'll score quickly and you might not see a lot of goals, or your Argentinas, you don't see as many goals. Or as we mentioned, your Scandinavians, your Norwegian leagues, your Finnish leagues, your Estonia, your Swedish leagues. All of these leagues are really starting to kick into gear, and there are leagues that you don't see as many corrupt decisions within the VAR system. They don't try to nitpick as much as some of the other leagues around the world. And what I want to also mention about the VAR, if you do and get bothered by a lot of the VAR, well, there are a lot of leagues around the world you might not be familiar with that don't have second divisions. All throughout the world are high scoring leagues, and a lot of them don't have VAR, or it's underutilized per se compared to some of these top leagues. And the best part about those lower leagues is they will play a little bit more free for all, a little more gung ho footy. There's not as many stipulations within that game. The players individually, that's not their last destination per se, right? So you're a player, your goal is to get to the top level. So when you're in a second division, that is your stepping stone. And in a stepping stone league, what do you see in the G League with the NBA? You might see guys taking some good shots, right? Going one-on-one a little bit more, trying to be a little more individualistic, score, and that opens it up. And also the defensive end, that is very, very important. Those defenders don't care as much. If you've got younger defenders or second teams, like over in Finland, you have your HJK and your Klubi. If you have your Klubi, your second division team, those defenders are there to try to make the first team, and they're there to play the system that's in place, irregardless to what's happening in the game. Your PSV Young, your second division over in the Netherlands, same thing. Their goal is to mirror the system of the top team in order to get those players ready to get up there. So it's not always about the results, and sometimes that leads to goals. So if you're looking for goals, maybe look, and you hate VAR specifically, maybe look for some of those second divisions.
I agree completely. Well, Bradley, thank you very much for coming on our show. We wish you the best of luck. And again, folks, you can follow him on X at Brad Betts Footy. That's BradBettsFooty. And you can watch this episode on YouTube, on X, and anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or even Believe. So check it out. And appreciate you coming on the show, my friend, and hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to getting together for some World Cup action.
That's perfect. That's what I love to hear. When we come back, of course, we'll have our good friend Dave Johnson here live in studio next on Just Win Bets.